Hi, I'm Lindsay Keller, and I'm going to be talking about Drusa Uzala for my Drama 70 oral presentation. Drusa Uzala is about a captain named Arseniv and his expedition troop who run into a goldie hunter named Drusa Uzala, who agrees to help them make it through the harsh landscape of the jungle. He is viewed as an outsider at first and doesn't fit in, but soon he proves himself to be a very viable part of the group when him and Captain Arseniv find themselves lost in a frozen lake, unable to find the rest of the group. They are forced to make a shelter so that they don't freeze to death in the cold night, and the next day they find their way back to the troop, and this is the part where Drusu is finally accepted and starts to be respected by the rest of the troop. Drusu helps them in their journey to map out the jungle and mountain ranges and ends up straying away from the group because he wants to stay in the wilderness. About 5 years later, the troop and Drusu end up finding each other and agree to stick together. Later, the group runs into a river and they have to cross it, so they have to make a raft to get to the other side. Drusu ends up getting washed down the river and needs help by his fellow troops to save him. In the desperate act to save Drusu, the men cut down a tree and it falls right where Drusu is, and they reel him in by the branch. I think it's kind of funny that Drusu still has to help the men help him by telling them which tree to cut down, and it ends up working out perfectly, but it's just funny. Later, Captain Arseniv brings Drusu into the town and he immediately doesn't fit in. He uses his wilderness skills in the city when he chops down some trees and builds a bonfire in the park. He quickly learns that he doesn't like the city and leaves town to go back into the wilderness with a fancy rifle that Captain gave Drusu as a gift. The captain gets the intel of Drusu dying for someone wanting the fancy new rifle. Akira Kurosawa does a great job with the cinematography in this film. He does a great job of showing the harsh landscape and the vast mountain ranges. I really like the scene where Drusu and the captain are sitting next to the fire and you can see their silhouettes in the red background. The picture is just unbelievably beautiful. The scene that really caught my eye is when Drusu fixes up the old shed in the start of the film. It was the point in the film when he was overlooked by the group and still had to prove himself. Right after he fixes the shack to be a rainproof and viable shelter for any passersby, you can see a rainbow cast over top of it. It really makes the little shack look like a perfect sanctuary for anyone and shows the importance of Drusa Uzala. This film is one of my favorites from this course because of the director. Akira Kurosawa is the director of the film Seven Samurai which is one of my favorite of all times. If you haven't seen that film, there has been an American remake of it called The Magnificent Seven with Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt and a few other famous actors as well. Drusa Uzala doesn't fall short as a survival film, and with it being directed by one of the best makes it that much better. Thanks.